I recently made a Bakerloo blouse using 2 different fabrics that I mixed and matched to create a new blouse, and it encouraged me to go ahead to plan out a few outfits for spring summer 2021 using wax print fabrics. And I thought, oh, let's switch on the camera and take you through my process, and I'll share my tips and tricks with you so that you become a pro at doing this thing called mixing and matching Ankara fabrics. So it's a total mess in here, but it's organized mess because there is a system to the madness. I'm going to show you the different things that I've paired up so far, and then we're going to take it over to the table so that I'll share my tips for mixing and matching prints. The first tip that I have for you today is to select fabrics that belong to the same color family. I have, for example, these 2 fabrics here, this one and this one. These 2 fabrics have, I think they belong to the same color family. If you have a look at this one here and this one, they're quite similar in color, and I think they would go very well together. And if, for example, if I decided to make a jumpsuit using these 2 fabrics, combining them in some sort of way, people might not actually realize that they're 2 different fabrics because they blend in nicely together. So it took, the funny thing is, I actually bought these 2 fabrics from the same vendor online, and I was really pleased when I saw both of them because I automatically knew that I was going to do some sort of pattern matching with these 2 fabrics. So yes, select fabrics that belong to the same color family. My next tip now is to select fabrics that have completely different patterns that aren't even similar in any way, but they share one color or a single color. Now this one here requires some precision because if they share a single color together, then it would make the matching easy. I'll give you an example. I have this one here, and I've actually been told that these actually are guinea fowls. I have this one here and I have this fabric here. Now these 2 fabrics have completely different prints. I mean, they're completely different. These are like they're different fish designs on the fabric, and here we have the guinea fowl. Now these 2 fabrics are completely different and they have completely different patterns, but they share a single color. Well, I actually think they share more than a single color because you've got the white there, you've got the white, even though the white here is not so prominent, but then you've also got the dark red. That dark red is something that pulls them together, and these 2 can work together. If you are able to find fabrics that have different prints but share a single color, go for it. I must say, doing this pattern mix and matching takes quite a lot of bravery and believing that you'll be able to get it right and not doubting yourself a lot. So I think it's worth giving it a go, starting from somewhere and working your way up as you go. So now I have these ones here. This shares a color, a similar color to this one here, and I think they could work. Even though the light blue here is a bit lighter than the light blue here, but somehow these 2 could work if I get very, very creative with the design. I think this would work. And I was also thinking about doing something else, which is to use this one here with this one because of the blue in this fabric. They're completely different. They're like far apart from each other, but this light blue here and this light blue here, I have a feeling that they would work together, but it would require a lot of standing back and looking at the patterns from a distance just to see if they blend nicely together. But I think these 2 would go better together more than these 2. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'd really like to know what you think about the blues in this selection here. This next tip is to use the same pattern but in different directions. Say for example you have fabrics that have stripes and they come in different colors. You could then mix and match them but have the directions facing differently, so you could have some horizontal and some vertical. I don't really have any horizontal vertical type of fabrics here, but if I had this fabric here and there was another fabric that was quite similar to this one, I could play around with the directions on the fabric and have these ones going vertical and the other one going horizontally. But that's another way to play around with the patterns on the fabric, mixing and matching the directions of the fabric. So if you have fabrics that have, for example, butterflies, I have these butterflies here, but then the only difference with this one here is that the butterflies here are multi-directional, so they're not all facing in the same direction. So if the butterflies were all facing, let's say, if they were all facing upwards and I had this one here, then I'll probably turn them over so that they'll be facing they'll be facing a completely different direction when I mix and match them. I know these two colors are just like completely off, but I just brought these two as an example and to model what I meant to you. So you go one in one direction and the other one in a completely different direction. I think my favorite tip out of all of them is to use like large scale versus small scale. So using the same type of fabric or the same type of pattern, but mixing and matching the scale of the prints. Let me give you an ultimate example. Here I have these two fabrics. You can see that they are very similar. You can see the curls, and you can see the curls here as well. I think these two would go nicely together. For example, a jumpsuit, I keep going back to jumpsuits, or a maxi dress, and having this yellow part as the top half of the maxi dress or the jumpsuit, and using the larger scale part of it as the bottom half, and probably incorporating some of the large scale as the sleeves, maybe some flutter sleeves, or using part of the large scale pattern as as ruffles on the sleeves of the jumpsuit or the dress. You could also have this as a blouse and make a pencil skirt out of the large scale print, which would be the blue one. But I think this is a typical example of mixing and matching. Same pattern, but large scale versus small scale prints. For this next tip, you can use two types of the same print. Here I have this, even though these two are completely off, I'm just using them as an example, but they are two types of the same print. So we've got these two here which are completely off. They won't go well together, in my opinion. They might go well together for somebody else, but for me, I don't think they would go nicely together. But they've got the same print, and they're two types. So this one here, we've got the same theme running here, leaves, and we've got leaves running here as well. But I don't know how these two would work together, but it's just an example for you to see. But then, since I've already got this one out, I've been looking at this fabric and this one here, and I feel like I can make them work together because they've got the purple and we've got this shade of blue and that shade of blue. Something in me tells me that these two fabrics would work together. I don't know why, but I just feel strongly I strongly believe that I can use these two together somehow. I just don't know how I'll do it, but I just feel like I could possibly use one of them as pockets and feature it on the other one. But yeah, I'm still thinking about how I would make these work, but I feel like they would actually work together in one garment. But with these, when I get to this point where I feel unsure, I'd leave the two fabrics hanging next to each other, or just like drape them on my mannequin and keep them there for a while just to familiarize myself with it. And if after a week I don't like the look of them, I'll pack them away and not come back to them ever again. But these two have been playing on my mind and I don't know why, but let me know what you think about the purples. Do they work well together, or is it a no-no? So on the topic of uncertainty, I have a few pairings that I have earmarked, but I just need to let them sit for a while and I'll be back to make my final decision on. I'll share them with you actually. Let me share them with you. See, I have these two here. These two, I think they would work. I just feel like these two would work together. They've got two similar colors, and they share green and pink in common, even though the pink on this one is a bit darker than the pink on that one. But I feel like somehow I can actually make these work. So this would be one of those ones that I would have hanging for a while and then revisit after a while, just to check if I still think strongly about both of them. I'm thinking about one as a skirt and the other one as a blouse, which I can then mix and match with other things. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about the green as well. I have more pairings as well. These two I believe would go nicely together because of the running theme, the red here and the red there. And we've got just bits of orange, or is it yellow, maybe dark yellow, on this fabric here. So these two I think as well would go nicely together, and I would really love to pair these two because I absolutely love this design, and I like this one here as well. I will be back, and I hope that I end up liking these pairings. These 4 fabrics I really feel strongly about. I think something can be done using these 4. I think these 4, I can do something out of them. Not in the sense of using all 4 of them in one garment, but I feel like somehow I can make them work. Maybe this and that and this and that, or this and that one there and this one. I just don't know, but I feel strongly about these 4 shades of green, or these fabrics with 4 different shades of green. Somehow I feel like they might work. Possibly these two, because they've got parts they've got a bit of red in both of them. I feel like these two might work, but something is drawing me to these 4 fabrics. But I've just had them sitting together and I'm really unsure about how I'm going to make them work. But somehow I believe that they could work. I believe they could work, but yeah, I'll let them sit for a while and I'll be back to them. Now that you've got an idea about the things that I consider before I mix and match my African wax print fabrics, I'm going to leave you with this video here, sharing how I actually match the prints on the actual fabrics to make sure that they sit nicely and they are aligned. So I'll see you over at that video. Enjoy the rest of your day. All the very best. Take care. Bye.